Hi, my name is Biljana Balkanska. I work at Capgemini as the education team administrator. The best part of working for Capgemini is the fact that every day is different and everything is very fast-paced. I like to wake up every day and know that there's something different for me to do there. I do have a passion for helping young people in education, and my everyday job revolves around that. We try to give young people as much experience and opportunities, whether that's online or in person, as we can. I got the information and advice from my school, my head of year in sixth form. He knew that I really didn't want to attend university. I felt like it wasn't really for me. He also knew that there was parental pressure there to go to university, but he advised me that if you don't like what you're doing, you won't give it your 100%. The apprenticeship has helped with my confidence in a way that I've met a lot of different people, and I've seen for myself that I am able to communicate with different types of people. I volunteered a lot for things like parents' evening and open evening, and I guess it's helped me in a way with my communication skills. It's made me more confident that I can really communicate with anyone that I want to. When volunteering, a lot of the times you have to do a lot of public speaking, and that's another thing with confidence and also communication, and I take those things into my everyday work and apply them. The advice I would give somebody who is having second thoughts about uni would be to first do your research. What's uni life like? Look into different universities, and also do your research on other things such as apprenticeships. Don't just kind of close yourself off in a box. Make sure you're open-minded. I guess the main piece of advice would be really listen to yourself and listen to your gut feeling, because it won't lie to you.
Hi everyone, thank you for choosing my video. It's really great to be able to talk with you today. My name is Lizzie and I am the volunteer coordinator for a charity called Friends for Leisure. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about what it's like to work for a charity and also why I think you should become a volunteer. Quick background on where I work. So Friends for Leisure is a small charity, as I've said. We cover the Cheshire East area, and our purpose is to provide friendship for disabled children and young people aged 5 to 21, helping them to socialise and take part in activities that they may not ordinarily get to do. My role, as I said, is as the volunteer coordinator, which means I look after all the wonderful people who volunteer for Friends for Leisure, the majority of whom are aged 15 to 18. It's my job to make sure the volunteers are getting the most out of their experience, that they are gaining new skills and they are increasing their confidence, as well as making a difference to the lives of our young people as well. Working in the voluntary sector is not something that I had imagined I was going to be doing. When I was in school and college, I had many different career goals, including becoming a lawyer, a zookeeper and a dolphin trader. But what I found is that my skills and my abilities and my interests actually weren't best suited for those jobs, and I was actually far better suited to more person-centred roles such as this. So often the plans that you do set for yourself will change for one reason or another, so be flexible, keep your options open. There are so many varied jobs out there, and often it takes a little bit of trial and error to get on the path that you really want to be on. Working for a charity is something I'd recommend. When you work for a charity, you get the added satisfaction of knowing that you're making a difference, having a positive impact on the world and the community around you. There is no set of skills that you need to work in the voluntary sector. The range of jobs is so wide that any skill set can be an asset to the right role. A lot of jobs you may not even have heard of or thought about, so it's well worth spending some time researching what's out there. Okay, so I've talked a lot about jobs in the future, but obviously right now you need to be thinking more broadly about what is going to get you where you want to go. A large number of careers are quite competitive, unfortunately, so you need something other than just good exam results to set you apart from other people who want that same university place or that same apprenticeship or that same job offer as you. So I think the best way to do this, in my opinion, is volunteering. If you've got a specific career goal in mind, have a look at volunteering at places that are going to benefit that, such as in a hospital or an animal shelter. Otherwise, look for opportunities that will help you to gain a broad range of skills. So volunteering with us at Friends for Leisure, for example, you will gain skills in communication, leadership, initiative, creative thinking, to name a few, all of which are essential to almost all careers and will look impressive on CVs and interviews and applications. What volunteering also does is demonstrates that you are a well-rounded person with varied interests, and that you care about your community and that you're willing to help others, which is really important. The earlier you start thinking about your career options and what you're going to do to get there and what your interests are, making those first steps towards your goals, the better. If you get to the point where you're already applying for jobs and you've not yet done any volunteer work or anything similar, it's too late for that round of interviews. Think ahead, start early. Having a year or two of voluntary work on your CV is going to look really great and will really help you. So if you'd like any more information about volunteering with us at Friends for Leisure specifically, you can head on to our website, which is friendsforleisure.org.uk. Click on the volunteering tab. All the information is on there about what it means to become a volunteer with us, and you can apply straight from that page as well. Otherwise, go and see what other opportunities are out there that were best for you. So in conclusion, don't put too much pressure on yourself at the moment. Plans change, things will go wrong, opportunities are going to come along that you may never have dreamed of before. Take your time, keep your options open. The most important thing is that you do something that you're interested in and something that fulfills you. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to ask me any questions about the voluntary sector or about becoming a volunteer. I'll be answering them in a Q&A on Friday, so please tune in for that and I'll see you there. Thanks very much. Bye.
Hi, my name's Simone Roche and I'm the founder of Northern Power Futures and Northern Power Women. I'm here to talk to you about why LinkedIn is so important. So when I started my career many years ago, and before I go any further, I just have to say, if you hear any creaking, we live on a boat, so we often get noises. It's not my knees, just because I've been working for 30 years. But anyway, so I think why LinkedIn is so important is it's a place where you can capture all of the good stuff that you're doing. So whether it's Duke of Edinburgh, volunteering, working in the local paper shop, whatever it is, get it written down, because at a point in the future, it's really hard to remember all the brilliant stuff that you've done. So whether you've done kind of summer camps, extracurricular activity, that's easy for me to say, get it written down, because you know what happens? Employers that you will come across, they will check you out on LinkedIn, and you maybe think, oh, I haven't really got anything to put down there. You have, write it down and keep reviewing it. And if you see something that you think might be interesting to one of those connections, you can share it on LinkedIn. You can put your own little thoughts and top tips down there. So don't think that you haven't got anything to offer because you've got thousands and thousands of people on LinkedIn. It's really important. And this is where you start building your profile. And in all the years of business, so from me working in the Armed Forces, in the Royal Navy, to Blackpool Pleasure Beach, to Southport Theatre, to Liverpool Arena, all of those places, you'll meet different people along the way and you can connect with them. And that's what I've done. So when I'm in a, in a role or trying to make something happen, sometimes I'll look through and think, oh gosh, who could I connect with? Or who might I be able to help? Or they may be able to help me. So don't think of it as like just a boring thing that you put your information in. It's quite a live and agile community. And believe me, that's the place where employers will go looking for future talent like you. Good luck. Write it all down, celebrate your successes, and enjoy the rest of this virtual careers fair. Good luck, everyone.
My name is Zara Khan. I work at Walsall Council and my role is the Positive Action Officer within the Walsall for All programme. I didn't know from a young age that I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. I was never really set on a career. So there was opportunity for movement and kind of taking that time out to think about what I wanted to do. But I went to a grammar school, so it was the done thing was to go to university, and I was a bit of a black sheep when it came to that. I went through personally a difficult period because I was in limbo from when I left school to when I started at the council. I wasn't really sure what to do. I've always had the pressure to do my best, and that's something that my parents have kind of instilled in me. They've always let me choose my own route and my own way of doing things. You've got to enjoy what you do. That's really something that I believe in, because you're going to do it day in and day out, and you've got to want to get up in the morning to do a job. Work experience is so valuable because it can show you that there's other areas outside of school subjects within the world. You know, the world's not split into math, science, English, and jobs that are rotated, revolve around that. I've always felt that I've been given opportunities and treated like any other employee. I sort of take it on myself now to be an ambassador for apprenticeships, so kind of going out to schools and careers events and talking about apprenticeships and all the positive things about them, and how you get paid a good amount of money for the work that you do. There's no debt, and you're treated like any other sort of employees. So when I first started my work experience at the council, I was given the opportunity to attend the youth summit. Sort of from that came joining the Youth of Warsaw, which is a local youth group that works to sort of empower young people and have their voices heard and combat issues and raise awareness of issues that are important to them. Young people are brilliant, they know their own mind. They're very educated on different, various issues that affect them. Let them have a chance at kind of speaking out and saying what they need to say and campaigning on things that matter to them. So I'd say to my 15-year-old self to not be afraid to walk your own path and do what's best for you.
Hello, I'm Helen Pullen. I'm the Director of Safe Opportunities. I'm going to talk to you today about making the most of any opportunity offered to you. We're a company based in Crewe who provide opportunities for young people either via work experience, work placements, support with transition through to the next stage in their lives. The transition from a school or college into a workplace can be a really difficult time. When you transition from a primary school to a high school, there's lots of support in place, lots of visits, and you move as a class. When you transition into the workplace, you will choose different occupations and you will have a different individual plan to move forward. There are various pathways you can follow to move into paid employment. You can follow the school or college pathways. You can do a traditional work experience placement, or you could do a longer term work experience. You can do an apprenticeship or a supported internship. But while you're doing these programs, it's really important to make sure that you work on your CV, keep it up to date, and take advice and help when you need to with that. And also take every opportunity you can to do mock interviews and do some vocational qualifications as well. This will all help with your confidence and help you to feel more prepared when you're moving into the workplace. To be able to move forward with your career and your choices, you need to step out of your comfort zone. A big part of this is communication, so communicating with employers to find out the information you need, either by phoning them up, emailing them, sending them messages via social media, and also taking every opportunity you can to speak with employers and communicate with them, either via careers fairs or mock interviews, anything like that. And it's also good to try out and learn lots of new skills that are going to help you in the workplace. So think about what's needed and then go and find a way of learning those new skills. And really importantly, don't forget to ask for help, because it's the help is out there. Just ask as you need to. It's really important to take every opportunity you can to work with employers, and when you do, make sure you take the chance to research your employer, understand what they do and understand what they expect from employees. Make sure you take notes when you're working with an employer to record anything that they ask you to do and any specific ways that they work. And make sure you take time to reflect on any work you've done with an employer, just so you can think about, was that positive? Was there anything I can take away, anything I can learn from that experience? Time management is a really important skill for a young person to learn. If you can manage your time carefully and use your time productively, you'll get the best out of every single situation and every opportunity that's given to you. And remember, your career is a journey. This is not a destination. There's going to be bumpy paths and smooth roads on the way, but don't give up, keep persevering and keep working at it.
Hi, my name is Emma, and today we're going to talk about recognising and building your personal skills, why they're important and why it's good for you to identify your own skills. Having a pen, pencil and some paper will be really useful throughout this exercise. So, why are skills important? Well, we use a range of skills in school, at home and as we prepare to enter the world of work, and it's really good to develop our skills. Know which ones we're good at and then also develop the ones that we're maybe not so good at. So now what I'd like you to do is brainstorm and write down some of the skills that you think employers might be looking for. So you've had a chance to think about some of the skills and write those down. Now we're going to look at the image and you'll see some of the top rated skills that employers are looking for. We're going to go through these and I'm going to give you some examples. Communication. It's critical that you can communicate well to not only get yourself through the interview, but also you communicate with others when you get into the workplace. So as a manager, I always look for people who communicate in team meetings, who communicate with others in the team, as well as those across the wider team, so we all get the end results that we want to achieve. Leadership. We're not all born natural leaders, so this is something you can develop with experience. As a manager, I need to be able to lead with confidence to make sure that my team know that I can come out of my comfort zone and they have faith in my ability. Teamwork. Generally, we'll all be working a part of a team at some stage. And again, as a manager, I look for people who are good team players because what happens when they aren't? It can create a bad atmosphere. Planning and research. Always do your planning, whether it be when you're going for an interview, because if you don't, it always comes across that you haven't researched or planned properly to give you your end result. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from a knockback. I personally take the positive and the negative from any situation and then always try and develop it. Self-management. Think about getting yourself to work on time. What you're going to wear, how you're going to look, how you're going to prepare, because often we don't get a second chance to make a first impression. All these skills you will already be demonstrating in some capacity on a day-to-day basis. If you've no work experience, where do you gain skills? So what I'm going to suggest, you pause the video and I want you to write down some of the ways that you can gain everyday personal skills. So you've had a chance to jot down where you can gain skills. Some examples could be if you're a prefect at school, if you do volunteering work, you might have a part-time job, or you play a team sport. Never underestimate the transferable skills that you gain from each of these activities. Transferable means we can move our skills around. So for example, if you're part of a team and you play a sport, think of the skills that you gain from that. Resilience, commitment, time management. A real broad range of skills will be invaluable to any employer. So now I'd like you to jot down your top 5 skills and how you could use them in real life. Before you hit pause, if you're struggling, think about speaking to a parent, a teacher, a friend, someone who can help you identify your skills. Don't forget, you're going to have to talk and write about these skills as you apply for college, university and jobs in the future. Also, if you're struggling, use the skills dictionary. So you might want to press pause now and have a think about those skills. We're now going to look at a couple of workplace scenarios and we're going to identify some of the skills that you need for each. So, scenario 1, it's your first day in a new job. You're going to be meeting with your new boss, you're going to be meeting with your other team members, you're going to be undertaking some tasks. So what are the skills that you need? Well, first and foremost, good time management. Make sure you arrive in plenty of time. Good communication skills are key here. You're going to be talking with a wide variety of people. Make sure your listening skills are up to speed because you're going to be taking in a lot of information, and you're happy with your self-management because you've only got that first day to make a great impression. So our next workplace challenge is planning a staff rota. You've recently been promoted to supervisor and you've got to send out next month's rota in a timely manner to staff. So what sort of skills do you need to consider? Well, first and foremost, your leadership skills. You've recently been promoted, so you need to demonstrate your leadership skills and your ability. Secondly, make sure you put in the time to plan and research your rota to make sure you also get it out in a timely manner. Make sure you can listen to your staff in case they have any queries, and also that you can communicate effectively with them. I hope you enjoyed today's film and found it useful. If you're interested in finding out more about linking skills to jobs in different sectors and how you can build the skills that you need for different careers, check out the Wheel of Strengths in the youth section of the Life Skills website, along with other great resources. Thank you so much and bye!
Hi, my name is Tom. I work for Blackpool Transport and I am a digital marketing apprentice. I chose an apprenticeship because I looked at my options and I didn't think university was the right route. I didn't like the idea of more classroom learning. I wanted a much more hands-on approach. I actually did some work experience at an accounting firm because I did at the time think, finance and accounting, I'd love to do that. I was there for about a week and at the end of it I realised it's definitely not something I wanted to do. Which isn't a bad thing because, like I said, it narrows down my choices. So at least going forward from there, I knew I didn't want to do accounting. And not only that, but I've previously worked in retail, and because I'm doing a digital marketing apprentice, a lot of it revolves around customer service, talking to people over the phone or on social media. So by being able to already know how to talk to people over the phone and in person, that kind of set me forward a little bit. Some of my responsibilities include managing the social media account, maintaining, updating the website and the app with new content. My image of an apprentice was, you go make the brew, push to the side a little bit, but I wasn't asked to make a brew once. Yeah, I felt like a real part of the team. When I first told my mum I applied for apprenticeship, she was quite shocked because both my sisters previously went to university. So my parents just presumed that was the route I was going to take. Once I explained to them why I wanted to do an apprenticeship, they were really supportive. 3 key pieces of advice I'd give to anyone who was in my position would definitely be to explore your options. I work for a transport company and I do marketing, and that's not something you'd really put one and one together in the same boat. Definitely don't go for the obvious options, just branch out because you'd be surprised what you find. If it's possible, just do some work experience in those sectors because it'll look great in your CV, but it also means you'll take something away from it. Whether you like it or not, you'll know whether you want to carry on doing something in that sector after your work experience. So it really does narrow down your choices for you.
Hi, I'm Gemma. Lovely to have you here. Now, it could be that you've already watched the intro on how to get going with your CV, which is a great starting point, but I'm now going to go into a bit more detail about how to tailor your CV and make it stand out. You might want to grab a pad and pen, you never know. You can make some notes as you go along because things might come to you, and then you can quickly pause this video and jot them down. So starting with your personal statement then, this is your chance to really sell yourself. What makes you the person for the job? And how can you back that up? What experience do you bring to the table along with your qualifications? Now, not only should this be an honest representation of who you are, it should also grab their attention and be tailored for the specific job you're applying for. Still struggling? Okay, have a look at this inspiration board and pause the video for a couple of minutes, just to give you a chance to put your thoughts down on paper. It might be helpful to think of your personal statement in 3 segments. Firstly, a brief introduction to who you are and the opportunity that you're interested in. Then, a quick overview of your skills, experience and interests, paying particular attention to how they relate to this role, and then finish off with a goal or ambition. And don't be afraid to go big on this one. This is how you go one step further in showing the employer that you're the person for the job. So now you've done that, let's have a quick look at a great example of a personal statement, just so we've got something to compare ours with. Now feel free to go back a bit and use any part of that personal statement to make it work for you and adapt the bits that don't work for you. Tailoring every part of your CV to be a strong representation of who you are is really important, whilst also making sure that every time you send your CV out, you've adapted it to the role you're applying for. Now, that might mean changing the odd word or the order, which skills you highlight or choose to say less about. And one tip is to use the job description of the role you're going for and then build parts of your CV around that. Even tailoring the language you use can make a difference. Mirror the same words or skill description that are in that job role description. So let's look at a couple of job descriptions now and see how that might work in practice. Just hone in on a few keywords or phrases from your own job spec that best match your own skills and interests, like you can see we've done here. And then you'll be able to use those words or phrases directly in your CV. Remember, your CV not only is an honest reflection of who you are, but it also demonstrates exactly why you're a suitable candidate for the role. So use that knowledge, refine your CV every time you send it out. Now, hopefully you picked up a useful tip or two here, but you might also want to check out the CV Builder tool on the Life Skills website, and there's plenty more great resources there too. So best of luck and bye for now.
Hello, my name's Hannah and I'm a paediatric nurse and I currently work for the NHS.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it. So let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Good morning everyone. Well, you're halfway through the week already, and by now you should really have some clear ideas of what your pavilion looks like and the way it will be powered. Now, Heriot Watt University experts are going to take you to the next stage and start to formalise your floor plans. And don't forget, you can ask your questions after the broadcast via the live chat, which is situated next to the video player. I'm now going to hand over to the rest of the broadcast.
Good morning. This video is put together by my colleagues George and Shamil. Today we're looking at finalising your idea and drawing a floor plan.
Hello. My name is George Jaramillo. I am an assistant professor of design here at Heriot Watt University.
Hi, my name is Shamil Mohammed. I'm an assistant professor in architecture at Heriot Watt University, Dubai. I currently teach and lead the second year design studio for the undergraduate BA program in architecture.
A floor plan is a type of bird's eye view that allows you to share how a building is built, how spaces relate to each other, and even the circulation and relationship of furniture and people to one another. First, let's talk about scale. Scale is a type of relationship or ratio between an artifact in the real world and the representation of that artifact in your drawing or form. Scale allows you to communicate and showcase something very, very large in a much smaller space. And it is an important tenet of architecture and design. For example, 1 unit to 1 unit is a 1-to-1 ratio scale. It represents a full-scale version. You can think about it as an item that has the exact same size and shape as the item that will get built. A 1-to-2 scale or ratio is an item that is built at half the size of its final form. So if you were to imagine a pencil or a large train, that scale at half scale, or 1-to-2, would be half the size of the building. With that idea in mind, you can continue to start to create larger scales or ratios. The second item that we're going to talk about is called the cut plane. In the example that we're talking about, imagine you take a pepper and you cut that pepper at a particular height. And if you were to imagine that pepper then, what that line or sketch of that pepper would look like when it was cut from above would be the cut plane. A horizontal cut plane is called a plan, and a vertical cut plane is called a section. With the cut plane, in buildings and in forms and other designs, that physical cut is an imaginary cut, and it allows you to envision what the space looks inside, the way that you would envision what the inside of a pepper would look like. Have a go at the example of cutting a pepper and imagining what that pepper form would look inside. What is the thickness of the walls of the pepper? What is the thickness of its seeds and its central form? How does the pepper differ from the outside to the inside? With these two key skills in place of scale and cut plane, you are now able to start to draw your own floor plan, whether be it for an object, a piece of furniture, or for the pavilion that you are drawing.
Does that make sense? My colleague Shamil is now going to go through step by step drawing an actual floor plan, and hopefully this will help you to draw some plans of your own pavilions.
So what I have here is a 1 centimeter dotted grid in here, which is readily available on the internet. So you can just take a print to use it as a base drawing. And first thing that we need to do is to determine a scale. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm using a scale which is 1 centimeter in this paper space is 1 meter in the actual physical world. So I'm going to write down that scale in here. Having set the scale, which is 1 centimeter as 1 meter, let's try to draw a living room of a dimension which is 5 meters by 4 meters. So I'm going to start marking on the grid. So that's where I'm going to start. 5 meters wide, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 4 meters long. Just going to mark out a rectangle in here. Now, right next to the living room, I want to draw the dining room, let's say, and that's going to be 4 meters by 4 meters. So from there, I'm going to mark out 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in order to build the space, we need to have the space sort of marked out by walls. So the next step is to indicate that walls. Typically, an exterior wall is 20 centimeter in width, in thickness. So in order to depict that in this paper space, where 1 centimeter is 1 meter, 2 mm here would then be 20 centimeters in the actual. So we kind of offset this line by 2 mm in this. We also need a wall between the living and the dining room. This wall is called the internal partition wall, and that need not be as thick as the exterior wall. So that could be 10 centimeters. So in this paper space, it's going to be 0.1. Now, how do we get into this room? There's no opening, there's no door. We need to now attempt to draw a door that will give access to the living room and then into the dining room. So first, what we can do is to open up this wall by 1 meter, and then I'm going to draw a door in plan. That's the door itself and shows the thickness, and then I can draw the swing of the door that shows how the door is being opened. When we come into the living room, we're using that door in there, and we have to come into the dining room. We're going to introduce another door. Next, let's introduce some windows. These rooms, they require sunlight, natural light into the space. And for that, we need to introduce windows. So I'm going to open out a wider opening, and let's say this is the north side of the living room where I want to introduce the window. So I make an opening similar way as the door, but here it's much wider. That's going to be 3 meters wide. And then in order to indicate a window in section, you have a central line which depicts the glass pane and thick line. And then you have the sill lines which are fainter than the central line. So that's a window. Great. So now we have something very close to a plan that shows you the doors, the walls, and then the windows. It also tells you what space we have on the inside. That's the living room and the dining room. So let's go ahead, and now that we're sure of where the doors and windows are and where the walls are, I can now draw over it using a pen. Right, so that completes the plan. I'd like to show you how to draw some furniture within these spaces. And that also reflects what kind of spaces they are. So in the living room, you would find, let's say, a TV stand. So I'm going to show a TV stand in plan view, which is the top view. And that's going to be in a rectangle with a TV in here in top view. So the walls, the windows, the doors, they're all cut. You will see them as a geometry that is actually cut. But you see these geometries, the furniture layout, often indicated as an elevation line. In a living room, you also will have a couch. So I'm going to just depict a 3-seater couch that's facing the TV. In the dining room, you might have a nice dining table where people are sitting next to each other. So that kind of gives you an idea of how to draw a plan at a very basic level. Of course, you can all indicate dimensions if you want. So that gives a good idea for whoever's reading that plan. He or she understands the scale at 1 centimeter of this drawing is actually 1 meter on site. They also understand where is the wall, which is the external wall, which is the internal wall, where are the doors, and where are the windows, and what are the dimensions that they have.
So, I hope the explanation by George and then the walkthrough by Shamil has made it a bit clearer to you how to put together a plan. I'm just going to leave you now with some thoughts from Eamon, one of our students on Team Esteem, and her experience of putting together the plan for the Team Esteem house. Good luck with the plans for your own pavilions.
Looking back at how we made our Esteem floor plan, there was a very individual take that we took on it as a group, and using that I've created a poster which should hopefully help you understand the way we approached it and maybe help you guys. So it was something like this. So what I'm going to do is go through the different processes to eventually build you a floor plan. So what we did is first we looked at needs and desires. So when evaluating needs and desires, you have to take into consideration what kind of floor plan you're building and the way you intend to go about this. So for example, who do you want living in this house and who's it being built for? So are you building it for autistic people? Are you building it for people with dementia, the elderly, children? And this should start giving you hints of kind of stuff your house should have or the kind of stuff to avoid. Once you figure this part out, you go to the next part, which is to connect or not to connect. This part basically means what kind of connections would you like in your house and where would you like to be able to have access
from what would you like to be able to keep some stuff private from everyone accessing them so easily. So after you figure these parts out, you can start using both of these to combine to start making what we call bubble drawings. So this would incorporate making something which looks like this. So this should start giving you more of a visual aspect of what your house is going to look like. Having done this, you can move to the most final stage, maybe the most grueling stage. So this is the main floor plan planning. Here you might end up with more plans than you think you'd eventually have. However, what you should do is use this to eventually come out with something that looks like this. So that incorporates making different array of plans which replicate this in the best way you think possible. So the way we went about it as a team is we had multiple plans and we narrowed it down to 4 that we really love. And using those 4, we created a pros and cons list about the ones that we liked the most. And then we gathered all the pros from the 4 and the best parts of each floor plan and made one big plan which looked like this. And that would be the best way to go about it, because that way you're incorporating the best ideas that you've had all the way through to make the most desirable version of what you call your house. And hopefully you can get there too. So this is just a basic quick way of what we did, but of course you can go back to whichever way you want, and hopefully this will help.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see 2 symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.